Okay, now let's go for the first part. Chapter 1, good as the enemy of great. That's why that what makes death so hard. Unsatisfied curiosity. Burley Markham. Good is the good is the enemy of great. And that is one of the key reasons why we have so little that becomes great. We do not have great schools principally because we've good schools. We don't have great government principally because we have good government. It means it is a chain like thing that it's the reason of that's the reason of this. Few people attain great lives. Yes, it is actually right. In large part because it is just so easy to settle for a good life. It is easy. It is easy always to do the easy work. It is hard to do the hard work. The vast majority of companies never become great precisely because the vast majority become good, become quite good, and that is their main problem. This point became personally clear to me in 1996 when I was having dinner with a group of thought leaders gathered for a discussion about organizational performance. It is such a good idea, it is such a good content. Bill Mihan, the managing director of the San Francisco office of McKinsey and Company, leaned over and casually confided, "You know, Jim, we love built to last around here. You and your co-author did a very fine job on the research and writing. Unfortunately, it is useless." Curious, I asked him to explain. "The companies you wrote about were, for the most part, always great," he said. "They never had to turn themselves from good companies into great companies. They had parents like David Packard, George Merck, who shaped the character of greatness from early on. But what about the vast majority of companies that wake up pathway through life and realize that they are good, but not great?" I now realize that Mihan was exaggerating for effect with this useless comment, but his essential observation was correct. The truly great companies, for most part, have always been great, and vast majority of good companies remain just that good, but not great. Indeed, Mihan's comment proved to be an invaluable gift, as it planted the seed of question that became the basis of this entire book, namely, can a good company become a great company, and if so, how? Or is the disease of just being good incurable? Means that the talk that this Mihan person talked about, that the good companies remain good companies and the great companies remain great companies because of their own and owners and their heads. 5 years after that fateful dinner, we can now say without question that good to great does happen, and we've learned much about the underlearning variables that make it happen. Inspired by Bill Mihan's challenge, my research team and I embarked on a 5-year research effort, a journey to explore the inner workings of good to great. To quickly grasp the concept of the project, look at the chart on page 2. In essence, we identify companies that made the leap from good to results to great results and sustain those results for at least 15 years. We compared these companies to a carefully selected control group of comparison companies that failed to make the leap from the transition point to good to great point. And if they fail to sustain it, we then compare the good to great companies at the comparison companies to discover the essential distinguishing factors at work. The good to great companies that made the final cut into the study attained extraordinary results, averaging cumulative stock returns 6.9 times to general market in 15 years following their transition points. To put that in perspective, General Electric, considered by many to be the best-led company in America at the end of the 20th century, outperformed the market by 2.8 times over the 15 years, 1985 to 2000. Furthermore, if you invested $1 in a mutual fund of the good to great companies in 1965, holding each company at the general market rate until the date of transition, and simultaneously, I don't know what is it, invested $1 in a general market stock, found your $1 in the good to great fund taken out on January 1, 2000 would be multiple 471 compared to a 56-fold increase in the market. There are remarkable numbers, made all the more remarkable when you consider the fact that they came from companies that had previously been so utterly unmarkable. Consider just one case. For over 40 years, Walgreens has bumped along as a very average company, or more or less, tracking the general market. Then in 1975, seemingly out of nowhere, Walgreens began to climb, and a description of how the charts on page 2 and 4 were created appear in chapter 1 notes at the end of the book. He's talking about cumulative stock returns of $1 invested in good to great companies. Wow. Climb, and it just kept climbing from December 31, 1975 to January 1, 2000. $1 invested in Walgreens beat $1 invested in technology superstar Intel by nearly 2 times, General Electric by nearly 5 times, Coca-Cola by nearly 8 times, and Nasdaq and so on by over 15 times.